How about five-time All-Star, World Series champion, two-time Gold Glover, Manager of the Year, Phil's Wall of Famer, Larry Bowa. Larry, how are you today?
Hey, Jeff. Everything's good. How are you doing?
Great to see you, Larry. Obviously, last night you guys held the Darren Daulton Foundation Gala in Center City. You know, it's been 8 years since we lost Darren Daulton to glioblastoma, a brain tumor. It's been quite some time, but Larry, you were there last night. Why do you think this is still going strong and Darren's name continues to live on?
Well, first of all, I think what Darren meant not only to the Phillies, but the Philadelphia area in particular. A great leader, a great player for the Phillies. Went way too soon, obviously. But I think a lot of it, of why it's going so strong is his wife, Amanda. She's kept the legacy going, and last night was a tremendous affair. A lot of Phillies came, ex-Phillies. Murph did a good job emceeing it. I'm sure they raised a lot of money. I know they had some bids going out for trips and everything. I don't know the amount of money they raised, but it's for a great cause. And, you know, bringing up the guys that played here that end up passing away from brain tumors is unbelievable.
Yeah, there's so many of them. It's awful. I mean, from Tug McGraw to
Johnny
Vuk.
Oates,
Yeah.
Brett, David West. I mean, there's a lot of guys that, and all in their early 50s, which is a shame. But it was a tremendous event. They did a great job. The Bellevue did a great job where we had the event, and the turnout was tremendous.
It certainly was, and the Darren Daulton Foundation gives grants to people suffering from brain tumors, glioblastoma, that went through or going through what Darren, lost his life to. Larry, when you hear stories from the Darren Daulton Foundation and the impact it's having on others still to this day, what does it mean to you when you hear stories last night, how it's helping people in the Philadelphia community and all around the country? What does it mean to you to know that he still has that impact and what the foundation does?
It means a lot, Jeff. And you know, most of these people that get this terrible disease with the hospital bills, rent, all expenses. They just can't do it with insurance companies the way it is right now, sky high. And the foundation literally helps these people along the way, because the last thing they want to do is worry about how am I going to pay this or how am I going to pay that. They want to get their spouse or whoever has the brain tumor taken care of, and the Daulton Foundation has done that, and hopefully it can continue to do that and even bring in more money. I mean, last night's event didn't shock me, but it was a nice turnout. And if we can continue to move on down the road like this and maybe do that a couple times a year instead of just once a year, it would be beneficial to a lot of people that come up with this terrible, terrible disease.
Yeah, and I love that Darren Daulton's name continues to live on here in Philadelphia and the work that goes on behind the scenes with the Darren Daulton Foundation. I loved watching Dutch play. I mean, Larry, after you and Schmitty and Tug and Steve Carlton, I mean, Dutch was, the face of the Phillies.
Yeah, there's no question. And, everyone, sometimes they think leaders have to hit 300 and hit 40 home runs. He didn't hit that high, but he got big hits for us. Great catcher, great communicator. He was one of those guys that if he didn't like something in the clubhouse, he would let them know. And we had a bunch of guys in '93, as you well know, that might have been tough to get along with in that. But Darren and the rest of the coaches and Jim Fregosi sort of smoothed that out, but Darren did a lot of that behind the scenes. No question about that.
Yeah, and I heard Gary Sheffield recently talk about the '97 Marlins when Darren was traded to the Marlins in '97, and Gary was saying, at first I didn't like Darren because he got into a fight with Doc Gooden, his uncle, years prior, and then he's like, Darren won over that locker room in 2 seconds. He was an outsider traded to try to get the Marlins over the hump, which he helped do. And to hear that from Gary Sheffield was really a testament to what Darren Daulton was like behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jim Leland was the manager of that team. And he told me that Dutch was there for a couple days and he had a clubhouse meeting. The only way they knew him was playing against him, but they realized how big an impact he meant to that ball club, and they went on to win the World Series. So that was a big pickup, and he gets people's attention real quick if you don't play the game the way you're supposed to play the game.
All right, let's talk some baseball. Let's talk World Series. Dodgers obviously eliminated the Phillies. It's been a tough month or so. We see the Dodgers go on and play this unbelievable brand of baseball, win the World Series in what is arguably one of the greatest World Series in my lifetime that I've ever witnessed. Dave Dombrowski said that he believes the Phillies are close to the Dodgers. A part of me, though, feels like maybe it feels like they're not. What is your assessment of where the Phillies stand today and just how close they are to becoming champs, even though they were eliminated early in the playoffs?
Well, I think they're close, but there's obviously there's a missing ingredient. I can't put my finger on it because the talent is there. The last 4 years we've come up, well, I should say three. We went to the World Series with Houston, and Houston was a better team. They beat us. But the other times, I really feel in my mind we should have advanced. The teams we played, I thought we were better than, and we just didn't get over the hump. And getting back to what you said about the World Series, it was a great World Series. But if you really analyze that, Toronto outplayed the Dodgers in every aspect of that series, and yet they came up short. So there's a little bit of luck involved. There's getting a break when you need it. There's an umpire's call, whatever it is. But the Dodgers definitely deserved it. Hey, they came up big. They were down in that game 7. They came back, tied it up, and eventually won the ball game. But I think there's when I say a missing ingredient, whether it be a player, I don't. It's hard to put your finger on because the talent is all over the field there. When we take the field, I don't think there's a team that we should take the field against that we're saying, oh, we're in trouble here. And if you look back at that Dodger series this year, Kirkring had a tough play. I personally would like to have seen somebody hit a home run and the way that game ended because Kirkring's a great dude. He works hard. It was one of those plays. He got caught up in the moment. I don't want to say he panicked, but he hurried everything. He had to play at first base on that comebacker, and it just didn't work out. It sort of reminds me of in the mid-'70s, all the years we won, and we had kept playing the Big Red Machine and the Dodgers and coming up short. And then finally in '80, we got over the hump. So hopefully keep our fingers crossed. I do think, Jeff, I think there's going to be a different look this year. Now, I don't know who's going and who's coming, but it sounds like reading baseball articles now that he's trying to change the makeup a little bit of the ball club. Obviously, the number one guy, I think, this is me, that you got to sign is Schwarber. He means so much not on the field, but off the field in the community. He's one of those guys that he's going to get some big offers. And it's just going to be a matter of how high we want to go or how much we want him. And I know John Middleton and Dave, they want him in that clubhouse.
Yeah, and you question the missing ingredient, what that may be. It's interesting you say Schwarber because I look at JT Realmuto as, he's obviously the glue behind the plate. What he does with that pitching staff. Dave Dombrowski said he probably cannot sign everybody. I mean, look, you have Kyle Schwarber, JT Realmuto, Ranger Suarez.
Right.
It sounds like maybe a Ranger could be the odd man out. Where do you think they go, and what do you think they should do in free agency? I mean, listen, part of me says bring them all back because it feels like you're in that situation you were kind of in 2012 where after they had that great '08 run, 9, 10, 11, you have all these stars, and even though there's something not clicking, I mean, what are you going to do? Get rid of all these stars? That doesn't necessarily make sense either. So where do you think the Phillies go in free agency?
Well, if it was my checkbook, I'd sign all three of them, but it's not my checkbook.
You don't have a checkbook that big?
I think no. Those are higher up people. The three guys that you mentioned are all integral parts of our team, and they've all had successful seasons. The one guy that I think might be out because the value is going to be so high is going to be Ranger. You get a pitcher like that goes deep into ball games. He's going to get, when you give him the ball, it's going to probably be in the 7th inning before you take him out. And when you look at situations now, those kind of guys are rare because usually pitchers go 5 innings and they're out of there. But Ranger's the kind of guy who's going to get a lot of action on the free agent market. There's no doubt in my mind. If we could keep JT and Schwarber, that would be great. Again, I don't know what our salary cap, I shouldn't say cap, what our salary limits are going to be this year. That's going to be up to John and Dave. But it'd be great to sign 2 of the 3 guys. And I just I want to say that Schwarber and JT probably are their priorities. I mean, I'm sure Ranger is too, but they're realistic, knowing that Ranger's going to create a lot of interest just because he's a pitcher. And that old saying is, you never have enough pitching, and if somebody can grab Ranger, that's going to be a huge pickup for them.
Yeah, certainly the emergence of Christopher Sanchez, unfortunately makes Ranger in a weird way not as valuable and is not as much, it feels like, as a priority. But maybe, look, the other odd man out really feels like it's going to be Nick Castellanos, and maybe that's run its course. Hey, Larry, you were a manager of the Phillies. You've been in the game your entire life. Obviously, it's no secret that Nick was having issues with being kind of a platoon player, taken out of games. Max Kepler was, complaining a little bit about that as well. He thought he was an everyday player. As a manager, how do you handle those situations behind the scenes, and how do you feel like Topper did with all that?
I think Topper did a great job. I think you have to be honest with guys when you start saying we're going to platoon. I really believe that Tom's did a great job with the communication skills there. I mean, I go back to that '93 team, and we had a couple platoon situations, but those guys accepted the role. There's not a lot of guys who will accept a platoon situation. So when you're used to playing every day, and all of a sudden the manager or coaches say, "Hey, you're now a platoon player," that's going to affect them in a negative way. There's no question about that. But I think the bottom line, when you're a manager, you got to do what's best for the entire ball club, not what's best for Cassidy or what's best for whoever you're platooning
Right.
with. And you got to explain to them, this is the reason we're doing this. And some guys accept it. Like I said, those guys in '93 with Inky and Izzy and Duncan and those guys, they accepted that role. And if you don't accept it, it can create some issues. And I think Dave sort of made it out. He's thrown it out there that Cassie will probably be with another team. Now, are we going to be able to get a favorable matchup when you make a trade like that? Are you going to get dollar for dollar, or are you going to have to pay some of the money? Those are situations that Dave's going to have to figure out. But just by reading the articles and everything, I would think that Cassie probably will be with somebody else next year.
Yeah, it certainly sounds that way. And look, it's probably a good thing, too, if you can infuse some energy, some young energy into this lineup. And, of course, you need your stars to perform.
Right.
A lot's been made over this Bryce Harper situation. In the end-of-the-year press conference with Dave Dombrowski, he questioned whether Bryce can be elite again. You pay attention. You know what's going on. When you hear that, do you think the Bryce situation, that was taken out of context? Do you think that maybe Dave was sending a message? Do you think Dave was just being honest, or it came out wrong? What is your take on the Bryce Harper situation? Because, listen, I understood what Dave was saying. I also question whether or not were you trying to send a message to these hitters that you guys need to step up. You guys are the stars here. We need that big hit.
I really think that Dave was just, he made a statement. I don't think it was that out of hand, but if you were on the other end of it and you didn't hear the whole interview, you might say what Harp said. I think basically what he meant to say is, because of what Harp's done in his career, it wasn't an elite Harper year, which it wasn't. It was still a real good year.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I'll take that year with a bunch of guys. But the fact that, and when he mentioned the word elite, he's talking about the top 5 guys in baseball, and Harp has been that. Harp will bounce back. There's no question about this. Now, will this motivate him? I don't know, but I know he'll have a better year. He missed close to a month of the season, and you still look at his numbers. They were still outstanding numbers. So I expect, whether it motivates him, I don't think he needs motivation, to be honest with you. This guy's been in the spotlight since he's 14 or 15 years old, and I really believe he's going to come out there swinging this spring training and carry it over into the season. The key word there is staying healthy. And, getting back to our makeup of our team, we also have a question mark, and it sounds like everything's good with him, is Wheeler. Will he be ready to go in April?
You feel for him. You feel for him going through that. It's not it's not a baseball injury, and you work. Zach's a great guy. He's of course an amazing pitcher. He has a beautiful family, and you think about, man, what Zach has been dealing with behind the scenes.
Right, and that injury it's one of those injuries where you see some guys that have had it have come back, others have not been. They've come back, but they haven't been where they were previous to the injury. Personally, what I would do with Zach is I would keep him down to spring training in the month of April, because going through that surgery and everything, why would you come up here in the cold, damp weather and pitch from opening day on? Even though he might be I'm sure he's going to say he's ready. I'd make sure he's 100% ready. Keep him down till the weather warms up here, because our rotation is still good. We still have guys at the top that can do it. I mean, Luzardo and Sanchez, this has been breakout years for them last year. They did a tremendous job, and I see nothing but good things ahead for them. And then you still have Aaron Nola, who I thought at the end of the year pitched very good. And you have Walker, Painter's coming up.
Yeah.
Who I think it takes usually over a year. People think, oh, why wasn't he up? A lot of times it takes a little bit more than a year. One thing about it, I watched him pitch at AAA. His velocity's there. The one issue that was not where it should be was the command. And if you talk to people that had Tommy John, that's the last thing that comes. So I expect big things out of Painter this year. He's going to be healthy. He's had over a year with that surgery, and he's a great kid. He works hard. I expect him to have a pretty good year this year.
Yeah, well, look, let's hope that the Phillies have some infused energy into this club. Things turn around next season. I like the fact that they're bringing back Topper. I like the fact that it feels like they're going to bring back this core. They're not going to blow it up, and that this team will be, hopefully having a parade down Broad Street next year.
I agree. Bringing back. You talk about bringing out some youth. Crawford, to me, Justin Crawford.
Sure.
Unless something happens, I think he's going to be in our lineup. And if you watch this guy play, he's electric. He brings a lot of energy to the ball club. He's over a 300 hitter no matter where he plays. He plays good outfield. I consider him like a left fielder, but could he play center? No question. I agree with you. You need that good combination of veteran guys, plus you want to bring up the new guys that are young. And we got a kid named Aiden Miller, that's not going to be far away. I'm not saying he's going to open up with us, but he'll be knocking on the door before the year's over. There's no question about that.
And that's what you need. I mean, look at the Blue Jays. I mean, they had some guys come up from AAA, some guys even from Single A, right? I mean, that made a huge impact. Yeah. Which is an amazing story. And he's a local guy. He's from Pottstown, from the Philadelphia area. Grew up a big Phillies fan. So you need that young energy. Well, listen, Larry, thank you so much for your time. Great insight on the Phillies, and of course, all the work you do with the Darren Daulton Foundation. Had a great gala last night in Center City, raising money and awareness for brain tumors to help those that were impacted the same way Darren Daulton was.
All right, Jeff, thank you very much, and let's go Phillies, and hopefully this is the year we have that, as you said, another parade down Broad Street.
Let's hope so. All right, Larry, thank you so much for your time.
Take care, Jeff.
All right, thanks, Larry.